So nobody tell Adam Schefter, but hang on for 1 second. Let me just. Hey, that was awkward.
Girl Scout cookies that I want to sell you.
Well, come on in. Hey, it's Adam Schefter, everyone.
Hello.
Time for Make Me Smarter with Adam Schefter. Not only an NFL insider, but the man who defeated me in the War Room playoffs last year. Congratulations again.
An avid fantasy player.
Yes, an avid fantasy player. All right, so you've been talking with general managers, coaches, players across the league. You're gathering news for ESPN, but I also know in the back of your mind, you're filing away nuggets for your fantasy drafts. Give me a sleeper quarterback this year.
Sleeper quarterback, Carson Wentz. We've talked about this before. I think he's ready to take the next step in this offense. He's got more weapons around him this year. I think they're going to throw the football. I think he's poised to be a big-time quarterback. And it wouldn't surprise me if Carson Wentz takes the kind of jump this year that Mariota and Winston took last year. Who's your sleeper quarterback?
I think there's a couple guys I love Wentz about. How about Andy Dalton, who's going like QB 20, was a top 14 fantasy quarterback last year with no A.J. Green, no Giovanni Bernard, no Tyler Eifert, gets all those guys back, plus Joe Mixon, plus John Ross. Like,
makes sense, right?
So Andy Dalton is somebody who's going to be a top 12 quarterback who's going way late. I also really like Phillip Rivers. Give me a sleeper running back that you like.
Well, the guy that I keep harping on, and we'll see if it pans out during the course of the season. It's not somebody that a lot of people in 12-team leagues are going to take, but a 14-team league, a 16-team league.
You and I are in one, yep.
It might have some value. Matt Breida, again, the 49ers, a lot of people don't know him. I think Carlos Hyde is in line to have a good season. I think they like Joe Williams, but I think Matt Breida, who's an undrafted free agent, I think he makes their final roster, and I think at some point this season becomes a factor. It may not be till later in the year, but at some point, I think he becomes a factor. You're a sleeper running back, Matt.
As long as we're talking deep PPR guys, how about Kyle Juszczyk in that same backfield?
Agree.
They love him there. In a PPR league, he's going to catch a ton of passes just like he did in Baltimore. Also, Kareem Hunt. You and I talked about him in the marathon a lot.
Is he a sleeper anymore?
I don't know if he's a sleeper. He's currently going as running back 40 on ESPN.com. I think that ADP continues to rise. But my guess is that even when the season started, Spencer Ware is going to be drafted ahead of him. My expectation is that at the end of the year, Kareem Hunt has more fantasy points than Spencer Ware.
I agree.
Give me a wide receiver sleeper.
Cooper Kupp from the Los Angeles Rams.
There you go.
Jared Goff obviously seems to trust him. He catches the football, makes a lot of plays. You're going to need a possession receiver. I think we talked about Robert Woods being that kind of guy, but it looks like Cooper Kupp may be taking over that type of role in that offense, and you'd like to think that maybe they're going to be behind some, throwing the football. Cooper Kupp catches 6-7 passes a game. I think he becomes viable this year, Matthew.
Yeah, certainly in PPR leagues. We actually talked about him on the show yesterday. And to your point, and I know Sean McVay was on your Know Them From Adam podcast, and you guys talked a lot about that offense. I think you and I both expect the Rams to be a better offense this year.
You got a sleeper wide receiver for me?
I do. I just lost it in my mind. Well, you know what? How about Zay Jones in Buffalo?
It's a good one.
You know what? I mean, I think that Jordan Matthews is a little bit banged up. Anquan Boldin retires now. Sammy Watkins in Los Angeles. Zay Jones, who's going to play on the outside, playing with his receivers coach from college, is now his wide receivers coach in Buffalo. So there's a familiarity there. A very talented guy, maybe not the biggest name rookie wide receiver, but going way, way late. I actually like Zay Jones to get a high target share.
I think people are looking at Buffalo's offense as being radioactive right now, and it's not that bad, I don't think.
No. And I think they're going to have to throw the ball to somebody. And so I think Jordan Matthews and Zay Jones are the two guys. There's a chance that Zay Jones leads all rookies. Cooper Kupp's another guy, could lead all rookies in fantasy points. All right, give me a sleeper tight end.
George Kittle of the San Francisco 49ers.
Wow, yeah, that is deep.
And again, a guy that, you know, I go back to the Rams and 49ers, and there's a theme there because to me, people think of those teams as offensive wastelands. And they're not going to be the Saints or the Packers or the Steelers, but they're going to be better than they were, and because of that, they're going to be values. So a guy like George Kittle, I think, is somebody who is going to make an impact at the tight end position more than people thought, and I think at some point this season he becomes fantasy relevant.
You know, I don't think people appreciate, you know, Brian Hoyer has been around the league for a little bit, but Brian Hoyer in a Kyle Shanahan offense, which he's been in before, they played together in Cleveland, obviously, he's a competent NFL quarterback who can get the ball where it needs to go. So I think, I'm with you, I think the Rams and 49ers offenses, while aren't going to be great, they're going to be better than people think. The fantasy wide receiver sleeper that I was thinking about, Cameron Meredith, where Brian Hoyer used to, going outside the top 40, was a top 10 fantasy wide receiver the final 6 weeks. He's going to be their #1 there. Sleeper tight end for me, Austin Hooper.
I like
just
him.
going deep.
I like him.
Yeah, I mean, the Falcons, 10 touchdowns last year to their tight ends. Jacob Tamme is no longer there. I spoke to his position coach at the Combine. Absolutely loves the kid. You know, he had the touchdown in the Super Bowl.
I like that one a lot.
Yeah, Austin Hooper, I just think, I think the Falcons offense doesn't regress nearly as much as other people think. One guy you're avoiding this year.
Well, you bring up offenses that regress, and you bring up the Falcons. And look, he's probably the most talented wide receiver in football, but I'm leery of Julio Jones. And I'm leery of Julio Jones just because he's got the foot history. He's got a new offensive coordinator, which I don't think you can overstate enough. You're coming off the Super Bowl loss, and I guess any one of those things may not mean all that much, but taken together, it just gives me pause. I know he's the best wide receiver out there. I know his numbers.
But you have to take him in the top 5. Yeah, overall, you have to take if you want. And so you're saying like to use a top 5 pick on it makes you a little nervous.
It would make me nervous. That is what I am saying. So again, I'm not saying Julio Jones is a bust. I'm just saying if I have one of those top 5 picks, I'm a little leery.
Yeah.
That's me.
Not fair. That is fair enough. We have been made smarter by Adam Schefter.